lost mine in the sand. Where will you stand?
And Hanok, I got a question for you. Have you bought your
Yes.
Thanksgiving turkey? Or as you would say in Israel, hodu?
Well, listen, it's what's really interesting is for former Americans, Thanksgiving is still, it's a memory.
Yeah,
And in the even though I didn't grow up within or as part of an Orthodox Jewish community, Thanksgiving was the only American holiday really that the Jewish community could celebrate.
yeah,
Let me explain. Because Christmas was really considered an American holiday. I mean,
yeah,
again, I'm not stepping on anyone's toes,
yeah,
but that's what it was. So you had Christmas, you had Easter.
yeah.
We don't fit with either of those. Um, New Year's Eve going out, getting, let's just say drunk. I was the adjectives were right there. But
Yeah.
anyway, so Thanksgiving was always a big thing. In Israel, it's a big disappointment because our tiny little ovens can't
Right.
fit a whole bird.
Yeah.
Years ago, my daughter Ayala was having a Thanksgiving for her friends who were also former Americans, and the turkey was so big, the door of the oven couldn't close, and her friends had to take a chair and prop it against it. It just anyway. People, see the notes like, where in Modi'in can you get canned cranberry sauce? So, you're spending 22 shekels on a can of cranberry sauce, but which actually leads me to my first series of Walmart experiences, which were in 2013 when I first started going to America to speak. I'm in Alabama and I think the brand was either Libby or
Mhm.
Festive canned pumpkin, 99 cents a can. Again, we're paying 20 plus shekels. I'm like, man, this is God bless America. I'm throwing cans in my wagon, like I'm just, and then as I get up to the line, I stop and I say, each one is 16 ounces. That's 1 pound. I'm paying how much for my second bag? And it's going to be half filled with cans of pumpkin? So no, I didn't. Speaking of cans of
So,
pumpkin,
so by the way, anybody that's ever been shopping with Hanok, okay, you have that picture in your mind because you've lived that. The only thing I've never lived is him getting to the register with the cart and putting something back.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. But while we're on the topic
Okay.
of shopping, fascinating article I read the other day that in the last 25 years in Israel, salaries have doubled
Hmm. Wow.
while prices have quadrupled.
Yeah.
Not good. And it's interesting, like people come and say, wow, you guys have Coca-Cola in glass bottles with real sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that runs about 12 shekels a small bottle. So 12 shekels, you're paying about $3.50
Yeah.
for that small little bottle of Coke. Not a great situation. But speaking of not a great situation, let's do a quick little roundup. So, supposedly there's still a ceasefire with Hezbollah, but we keep hitting them because they are rearming and they continue to push down towards southern Lebanon. Again, prohibited based on the ceasefire that America brokered. Where's Witkoff when you need him, huh? I don't know what he's doing these days.
Probably in
Maybe,
Ukraine somewhere.
yeah, could be. Could be. Yeah, they're picking on someone else.
Another business deal.
Um, so people write to me and they say, why are you so anti-Trump? I'm not anti-Trump. And had I been in America, as an American, I would have voted for him too.
Mhm.
And then as I quickly add, it's not like y'all have a choice.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, I'm not anti-Trump, I'm pro-Israel. Big difference. And Trump doesn't always align with Israel. What concerns me is this idea that after threatening Hamas, that if they don't disarm, they'll be disarmed, perhaps violently, he said. Who's going to do that? Which of the Muslim countries that he's been pressuring to be part of this peace observer force are going to do that? None of them.
Oh.
And what makes me, one of the things that bothers me is when I find myself knowing modern American history better than Americans approximately my age who also lived through this. What do I mean? People say, well, he's going to remake Gaza. They're going to, and you know what? It wasn't that long ago that I remember the idea that Afghanistan was going to be remade based on an American influence.
Hmm.
I remember Iraq, the same thing. And the moment the troops were pulled out, meet the old boss, you meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
Yeah.
So that's concerning. I don't see a real plan, an actionable plan. What is it going to act? The return of hostage bodies was supposed to have been done weeks ago.
Hmm.
It was supposed to be immediate. And Hamas and their associates continue to violate the ceasefire.
Hmm.
But again, the world only notices when we fire back. It's astounding. Now, here's something interesting. It finally hit me, as it always does. What topic am I going to be presenting when I'm in America? Now, first of all, I keep hearing about snow in different places, and I'm scared. I'll be honest with you. Not scared of Iranian ballistic missiles. I'm scared of snow and bad weather in America. Okay, so y'all keep me in your prayers. The title of the presentation is going to be, Is it the end of days or just another chapter?
Hmm. Interesting.
And there's so much that's been hitting me recently. And one thing I thought was really interesting to mention, among the different Jewish teachings on the end of days and the coming closer to the final redemption, it's been said that the expectation is that evil will be called good,
Hmm.
and every aspect of it, of, like integrity and honesty, won't matter anymore. And you see this all over the social media. And we all experienced it with when the ceasefire was announced. All those Hollywood and entertainment personalities that had been crying, you know, for ceasefire now, all of a sudden there's a ceasefire, and there hasn't been a single word from any of them.
Hmm.
Now, meanwhile, I achieved a bit of notoriety for introducing an expression here in Israel that no one had ever heard before. Big shock. I was in, I don't know, did I mention this last week? I don't think so. If I did, that's my mind these days. I'm in Machane Yehuda, Neshuk. It's on the holiday of Sigd. My Amharic is not, up to speed. So the place is a mob scene, and I'm in one of these stores that sells crackers and nuts and cheese. I didn't tell you the story last week.
I don't think you posted something, or I got a hold of it and posted on Facebook somewhere.
Oh, no, 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 no. But this is
Okay.
different. Anyway, so I'm ordering all these different things, and the place is filled. Different Israeli corporations give like a day off to everybody, and they bus them into like Machane Yehuda, and they're experiencing things. You also see them in the old city in the Rova in the Jewish Quarter. Anyway, so the guy says to me, this is all, of course, all in Hebrew. He said, "Where are you from originally? I can't make out your accent." It's like, yo, now you just can't leave. I've never, 16 plus years as an Israeli, no one has ever said to me, you know, so I said in Hebrew, I grew up in the Islamic Republic of New York. Do you remember, Mike, as a kid, the E.F. Hutton commercials when E.F. Hutton talks? Everyone that was the everyone, because I said in Hebrew, I said, אני גדלתי ברפובליקה האסלאמית של ניו יורק. And everyone goes like, so if you ever hear that expression, you can say, I know where it started. Now, speaking of expressions, I pick up a lot of nuances at the gym. And my trainer, who's older than I am, believe it or not, and still moving, still has moving parts. He taught me an expression which basically translates to, it's kind of like Israel doesn't count, but it's an expression like, shake a leg. Shake a leg, means hurry up, Mike.
Yeah.
Because I asked him, I said, what do you and your friends think of what's going on vis-a-vis Trump and everything else? And it's basically, yeah, America doesn't take us into account.
Right.
America said this is what's going to be happening. Meanwhile, for over a year, I've been warning people about Turkey, Turkey, whatever they're calling themselves these days. And sure enough, it turns out they're a real danger. And here's the other element of Israeli society that's happening. The IDF has been doing its internal investigations and probes and has been releasing a number of senior officers. Others retired, others have been censured, and all kinds of things. And then it dawned on me something. The IDF has been doing all of this. Not a single politician in our government, not one, has said, I've had any role in this. Or, I should have been more involved. Not one. So that dawned on me, and that was kind of unsettling. The other thing that's unsettling is tourism.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make it clear to people. And I went today. I happened to see people in the Christian Quarter, and they're kind of like my pulse on tourism. I don't judge my own guiding business as, the barometer of what's happening and what's not. And we're not seeing people. And the problem is we're now at the end of November, which means we're in winter. Although, okay, admittedly, it was 86 degrees the other day.
Yeah.
I apologize, folks. It was. But I'll get to the rains in a second. So in the winter months, except for a little blip sometimes for Christmas, we have nothing going on December, January, February.
Mm-hmm.
So even in good years, this is a down period. So that's concerning. Now, last night, 12:41 in Modi'in, thunder and lightning storms and rain like this. I felt like Noach. I felt like it's like just looking up there saying, wait a minute, is it too like it's like a lifeline. Mike, how do you build a boat? Come on, help me out here. Like, is Daniel busy? Can he like come right over? I don't know what I'm doing. So amazing scenes of flooding throughout Israel.
Yeah.
It was a real mess. And then at 7 o'clock this morning, just as I'm about to leave the apartment, lightning hit somewhere here in Modi'in, and the entire city, this is 110,000 people, everyone lost power. Oops. And it's wild stuff. So, people ask, what's the mood of Israelis? The mood is generally defiant. The level of yiridah, of emigration from Israel, continues to go up. Estimates are that, 80,000 young educated Israelis left the country last year permanently. Yeah, that's concerning. But the ultimate rule of management I learned many years ago is you can't lead someone where they don't want to go. So if you don't see
Yeah.
the reason to continue to invest yourself and your family in the state of Israel, you know, don't let the door hit you on the way out, pal.
This brings up something, and you mentioned a couple things here of power outage. I've never seen a power outage in Israel. I've never been there when there was a power outage.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is not something that happens very often.
No,
I saw, as I mentioned, news report that of course Israel is at fault for all of this rain because it is the Gazans are drowning in their tents. Okay, so we know that, and I can tell you the reason why it's your fault is because at this time of year, you guys are praying for rain.
exactly.
Okay, so it's your
Exactly. And
fault.
and I have to tell you, I've been trying to figure out why I've been getting this sense that it's like I say the prayers and it's like registered. We got you, Hanoch.
Yeah.
Got it. Like noted,
Yeah.
duly noted, duly noted.
Duly noted.
Check.
Uh,
Um,
being in Arizona for years, I saw the rains and what it would do in the wash. What we called the wash there is the wadis or vadi,
yeah,
as you read in scripture. And I've been in Israel when these torrential rains have come. Anybody that's in the En Gedi area tomorrow, next day, anybody that's in down along the Dead Sea, I mean, it's going to be absolutely life-threatening in those areas
yeah,
because the amount of rain that comes in.
yeah. I mean,
Uh,
I'm sure people have seen the videos of the water
oh yeah,
bursting through the rocks.
yeah.
Shocking.
We saw this in Nashville, a year and a half ago with Helene, but the power that there is in that water. Uh, but here's another aspect, Hanok. We talked last week, and this I think resonated with some people of assisting. You
Yeah.
just mentioned the
Yep.
people that
I
are
thought the same
leaving
thing. That's
Israel.
right.
You
Yep.
and I had a discussion this week regarding a mutual acquaintance of ours. I introduced you to this person, who is the really the poster child for Jewish liberalism, Jewish leftism. And I know this person very well. I've spent a lot of time with them. They sold their place in Israel and left a couple of years ago. And their question was, well, what about the Jewish settler violence, and how does this affect the scripture of my house shall be a house of prayer for all nations? How does that affect that? This craziness of people that just refuse to look at the reality of who Hamas is, who
Yeah.
most of the Gazans are, who the so-called PA Palestinian Authority is, and to somehow think that, well, all nations are just going to lay down their arms and say, oh, Israel, we were wrong all this time. Here's a person that left Israel, the same as what you're talking about. There is a sifting, and part of that sifting is called jet airplanes leaving Israel and those people not coming back.
When these individuals start learning how to sing in Hebrew and the Gazans start learning how to sing in Arabic, ain't gonna study war no more.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna study. Yeah, I mean, I remember, we had to sing that in elementary school.
So,
It's really,
Hanok, is it something we've come down to, we've talked about, I guess, many times, sometimes on the program, many times privately. Is it that they have rejected Israel, or has Israel rejected them?
I actually heard a number of years ago people saying that these kind of individuals would be vomited out. Now, maybe they think it's their decision, you know,
No.
but and just today in a conversation with someone, I used the following expression, and this is something that both you and I have said. Oh gosh, if we had $1 for every time we've said it, I don't know, we could buy a lot of boiled peanuts. But I said I never had any idea, that a remnant was such a small amount of people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and again, it's not just the larger Israel Ephraim part of the family that's going to experience this, but our side as well.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody. And the sacrifices that people have made and continue to make. I saw a video. I mean, I was a wreck after watching this. One of our young soldiers was grievously wounded in Gaza, and it's been a very hard recovery. And he was dancing at his friend's wedding, all the guys in the unit. And he's got two artificial legs, and most of one arm he lost as well. And he's dancing up a storm. So when I see stuff like that, and I wonder, wow, when people say to me, aren't you tired of flying to America? Where do you get the money to fly to America? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you start living on social insecurity? Really, and then I see this and I say, how can I not give more of myself?
Yeah.
Someone gave me advice a few months ago, someone I met. Um, it was when I was going up to the Harabayat, the Temple Mount, for that special thing that Rav Glick did in memory of Charlie Kirk.
Mhm.
And when these two couples were leaving, the woman looked at me and she pointed at me. She said, "Remember, y'all need to be a light."
Hmm.
So I'm thinking to myself, of course, burn, baby, burn. Let's get it on. Um, it's a glorious time for us to be alive,
Yeah.
because we can do things that will change the shape and impact on history. Us. And like, who are we to be? It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. And we need to act before people in the world dictate to us. Like, all of a sudden, after all these years, you got Zelensky and the Ukrainians, and they're like, what do we do now? And Trump's saying, well, we may just turn, you got to give Russia, territory. ¿Por qué?
Yeah.
Why?
Yep. Just got to give Gaza to the Arabs and everything will be fine.
Well, yeah, we
But
we tried that 20 years ago,
yeah, I know. And it
20
look
and a
how
half years ago.
yeah, look how it worked out.
Hey, listen, I got, I wanted to bring them in here, but I was in a rush to get on. Well, I don't have to hold them up anyway. So I got some stickers for you, Mike. When I'm working, I bring bottles of whiskey, from Israel. When work is, I bring stickers, but these are cool stickers because in Hebrew, they're like death to terrorists, or one with a shell casing, a bullet in the head for every terrorist. And I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. This is the greatest thing ever.
Hmm.
There it was. There's the guy, with a little table right in front of the central bus station in Jerusalem. I'm walking by. We get into a good conversation. He's looking at my Temple Mount patches and this and that. It's like he's looking at me like, yo, another freak. This is great.
Well, there's got to be a few of us out there, and
Shown up.
it is definitely a remnant. Um,
So, hey, just a reminder to everybody, don't be thinking about the Connect to Israel tour for next October. Y'all need to send a note to Mike. Hey, Mike, I'm seriously interested. When and where do I send my deposit? And you've got to be saving, because trust me, when you're here, there's a lot of stuff you're going to want to buy.
we have some ladies that can testify to that one. No doubt about it. You know, it's funny. I was at the VA the other day, had to see I had a doctor's appointment up there for a checkup, and the doctor is Jewish. And when I say Jewish, I mean that tense of the word. Okay, just kind of a little ish on top of the Jew.
Yeah.
Uh, and I said, I said, of course, yeah. Well, I just got back from Israel, or I said something about Ben Gurion. You were at Ben Gurion? Yeah, yeah. Well, I've never been. I said, I know. She said, is it safe? I mean, the media says this. And I said, well, why do you believe the media?
Unreal.
And then I said something about, I said, hey, feel safer than I would feel, I mean, downtown Asheville, I'm not walking down around there. She says, why? I said, have you seen the media? And she's just, I mean, she doesn't know
Right.
what to say to me, but I'm telling her all this stuff. And it's just like, I might as well have just gone ahead and spoken in some kind of language that I made up on the side because it would have meant that much to her.
You can't, again, you can't lead someone where they don't want to go, and you can't impress upon someone something that doesn't fit into their
Yeah,
lexicon at all,
yeah,
into their worldview. They just don't get it.
yeah. Well, I'm just going to stand with the fact that I believe that God, the Almighty, is a Zionist. So
Yeah, this is
if
all
it's
his
good enough for
idea.
him, it's good
So now
enough
we
for
can
me.
blame it. Yeah, blame it on him.
There you go. All right. Hey, until next week, enjoy that turkey, by the way.
Yeah, I will. You too. Think of me.
I'm sure mine will be a little larger. Maybe you
I'm
could
sure
find
it'll be
some
a lot
turkey
larger.
schnitzel or something. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe not.
absolutely.
All
Maybe
right.
not.
Take
Take
care.
care, man. See ya.